Hey everyone, we're Hexo. So we're basically we've been around for a year now, almost. Like we've been working together. Uh, a bit about before we start about the company, a bit about both of us as well. We both are the co-founders. This is Vignesh. He's got like what 8-10 years of experience in deep learning.
And Shahul is my gaggle partner.
Uh, I'm building my third startup. Previous one in edtech. Before that, in the IoT space, I've also spent some time um, in a strategy consulting firm. Vignesh was the head of machine learning at a vertical search engine company, and because of his algorithm, the company got acquired. So yeah, I mean, we've been exploring different ideas for the last year. I think we've pivoted 5 times, and now we're on the 5th iteration of what we're doing. People tell us it's normal when you're doing a startup to kind of go through all of that. So anyway, coming to what we do, we help brands intimately connect with their customers. So the idea is that can brands tell more engaging stories to their customers, right? And with the current state of where the technology is, hyper personalization is possible. So what we're actually building is a system which we have coined as APOMS. It basically means automated, personalized, and optimized marketing at scale, which means that if you're a brand that has 10 million customers and maybe 1,000 data points on each customer, you'd be able to generate hyper personalized creatives for each of those customers. So you'll actually be able to create 10 million creatives tailor-made for each of those customers, right? Which basically means that we're ingesting customer data plugged into your customer data platforms. We also will generate brand compliant content, and you basically enter in campaign briefs, and out you get like that many number of creatives that go. So eventually we're getting to a point where this will be an automated system, and you'll be able to generate these creatives on the fly for your customers. Basically, to get this entire system to work, there are over 25 models which will be in play. Image generation being one, large language models, composing all of this together into a composition, into a creative composition, optimizing it for higher click rates. So studying how the patterns of what creatives do better than what others don't, that'll be guiding the generation. Then of course brand compliance, so there'll be brand guidance and making sure it's enterprise safe, right? So broadly this is the system that's being built. We'll actually, so this is the overall system that we're building. As of now, for demo purposes, we've got one layer of the entire creative which is going to be going out, right, which is the background image. So if you think about a creative which is usually made on Photoshop these days, it's got multiple layers where there's a background image, there's text, there's logos and different layers of it, right? We've got something to demo here today, which is basically if you're a consumer packaged goods company, you could actually generate some amazing product photo shoots out of it and then turn it into creatives by adding layers on top of it. So for example, if I was this company which makes Nivea basically, right? I could just I could have all my assets over here, drag it onto the canvas, choose from templates. Now these templates are basically composition structures because we want to give more control to the generation process on how the product looks vis-a-vis the background, how much space does it occupy. So for example, if I was to go through all of these templates and I say, hey, I like this one specifically, right? I could basically place this object on this. Now the image that we would generate won't exactly be the one which we see. This is more as a guidance to show the scale of what you're generating. All I have to do is just hit generate right now and I get another image here which you will see in a couple of seconds time.
One huge, does this work?
Yeah.
Yeah? No. One huge disclaimer is I trained a model yesterday and hey, it works, okay. No disclaimer.
Yeah, so what you see is actually that the structure of the image has been maintained, so it gives a lot more control to where you want to place your object, what other objects you want to have in the background. You could even change this, like for example, if you see the prompt which is auto-generated here based on the template, it says product placed on a white marble ledge in a bathroom with a glass wall overlooking a beach and ocean view in the background. I could just probably change this to product placed on a wooden surface in a bathroom. So it'll maintain the overall structure of the image, but the specific part where the marble was there, instead it'll be converted into wooden surface. So what that gives is a lot more control to the generation process. So yeah, you will see it now. So as you can see, it turned into a wooden surface. I could even, specifically change now. It says overlooking a beach and ocean view. I could change that to overlooking a garden, for example, right? And yeah, hopefully it should generate a garden. I think it's still kind of working towards getting a lot more accuracy in this. But this, once we have this level of control, right? This is one layer. Now the next layer on top of this is basically text being generated. Like as you see, this is like some sort of garden.
Rich man's garden.
Yeah.
Forest.
Yeah. Correct. Correct. So we haven't yet integrated that into this, but that's next, right? So basically, you'll be able to generate a text over there which says, take a refreshing bath next to a refreshing view, or something like that, right? That comes next, and then another layer on top of that is that text, as well as this background, which is through this prompt which we have there, would be guided by some data points about that customer. So if I know that that customer owns a certain kind of a bathtub in the back, I could generate that specific bathtub to kind of give those kind of visual cues. If I know that that customer has a pet, like a Labrador dog, I could actually generate an image which has a Labrador lying on the side. So those kind of visual cues, and of course the text would also be guided by these data points, would help in conversion and higher click rates and overall conversion for that brand, and to make things a lot more personalized for each of those customers. So yeah, that's what we're building, and we're Hexo. And if you guys know of any brands, B2C companies who would, we'd love to talk to them. If you're from any of those, yeah.
If you know any good ML engineers.
Yeah.
Hello. So my question is, do you also plan on doing something like user just has to select a product and maybe a prompt or something, and these placements should be auto-optimized by the model itself?
So the first model we built had object placement attached to it, and then it didn't have templates and all. We said you can generate anything via prompt. And then we put it out, and then we saw, okay, it's horrible.
Yeah, basically the feedback we got, like I'll give you an example of what, like it generated like say a dense forest valley, and the product was as big as a tree. So I think
Yeah. So
these models don't understand size as well. Right
to
now.
be honest, the image generation models are not as matured as the language models, and just because language models are working extremely very well, all of us assume that generative AI problem is solved. Yeah, sure.
So why I'm coming to this is because my sister is into digital marketing, so she does all of these things, wherein like graphic designers have to think about all of these. Now the real value would be when a brand themselves, they just can do it in a single click.
Yeah, so right now, yes, the brands can do it in a single click, as you saw, right? And of course, as the product evolves, you'll have text and stuff. They'll be able to generate a creative straight away. I think what we're trying to do is take that one step further and automate that process so that you can do it in a single click for 1 million customers, right? Like each one will be auto-generated for that customer. So I think that's how we would want to kind of take
And
this.
one more question. So suppose if I am a person who has this Nivea brand, now I would want to create generate creatives for the next 30 days. So I would rather want something, created automatically for the next 30 days. Then I wouldn't mind paying, maybe $1,000 for it.
Sure. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of that would be driven by what the customers actually tell us, right? If they want like creatives generated for the next 30 days and plugged into their marketing automation pipeline, sure, we'll build that for them. What?
Like I can personalize images to no end,
Yeah.
but if customers don't buy more of it, it doesn't matter, right? So, like recommendation engines that do 0.5% uplift are really fantastic, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's something that we're working with the brands closely on, right? To kind of get that feedback engine also from them. So in a way, I mean, instead of RLHF, that'll be RL consumer feedback, which would, further help evolve the system as we go forward.
Can I quickly add something more to this? So the first experiment that the brands themselves did was try to create some creatives like this, put it on e-commerce, and then monitor the CTR. And then they landed up with the guidelines of how to create best-in-class creatives for my brand. They came up with that, and that is what they gave us. So you saw something called brand guidance, right? So they gave us like 120 page document which explains that, hey, these are all the things that you have to do in order to increase my CTR. So our generation engine is now trying to respect those brand guidance and then do it.
I understand that. Right? So the difference between doing one creative for all customers
Correct.
versus doing one creative for each customer is a huge cost incurred.
Exactly.
Is there a corresponding uplift that matters? So
Yeah,
when we work
yeah.
with like B2C brands,
Yeah.
a lot of the times they're like, I don't need to
Correct.
optimize my recommend or
Yeah.
like top selling products page for each customer.
Correct.
Just showing them the same thing is okay, statistical effects are stronger and then personalized effects. So I'm guessing it's what you
No, it largely depends on which brand it is, what size they are at, what is the product that they put out at. The brands that we are trying to work with, they think that this could give them an uplift, and they have run some basic experiments to prove that, hey, this is valuable, and that's why they want to work with us. But honestly, we never know.
Guys,